Oh, good afternoon, everybody. On today's episode of PincheAls Garage, we're gonna shave the bay in our Mark II. This will be before a video, and then we're gonna do an after video on how to prep the bay for paint, and then we're gonna bondo. We're gonna have a lot of work to do. So we're on the passenger side right now, so I'm gonna show you what to do. So let's get to work, because this is PincheAls Garage. So for this DIY, we're going to need a metal cutoff wheel, compressed air. I am telling you guys right now, pre-warning you guys, turn the volume down. It's going to get loud. Just watch what we're doing. We're going to be cutting things off first, then we're going to get down to grinding, and then we're going to get down to sanding, and then body work, and that last but not least, but painting. So this DIY is what we're going to be cutting off. So on the passenger side, there's a lot of things that you don't need on here for a Mark IV 1.8T swap. So anything that has a little stub out here, like bolt stub, you do not need. Right here, and there's two back here. They can get cut off. Okay, so cut those guys off. I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna montage it. You guys don't need to see how I do it, but just pay attention to how we're doing it. That's enough. That's enough. Okay. Because I don't want this stuff to blow up on me. Alright, so for the next part of this grinding or shaving session, now that we get all the big metal pieces off, like these big chunks, we have to grind these down to a smooth. And you'll notice there's little divots here. We're gonna get bondo, fill that in, sand it down until it's really smooth. Same back here, we're gonna do the same process back here, so this tower is nice and smooth. Now, one thing you're gonna notice is a lot of textured stuff. This is the sealant here for, I guess, anti-rust and anti-wear. We're gonna grind this down to a nice smooth surface, and then anything that has divots in it, we're gonna bondo and body fill to make this as smooth as we can. So what we ended up getting is the a metal grinding wheel for this portion. It's a 4-inch wheel. It's just enough so we can get into here and make this smooth. We're not trying to get to the metal, we're just trying to make this smooth and eventually get some sandpaper and smoothen it out as much as we can. Whatever has divots, remember, we're going to fill it with body filler. So stay tuned, we're going to get this going. Turn your volume down afterwards. notice there's a lot of this filler in here, so it's a very, very slow process. So just stay tuned. I mean, keep watching to see what we do and how we do it. All I'm doing is until it gets smooth, and then we'll fill it in with bondo and make it all nice and smooth, even better. Pretty good. Just slow, but good. Alright, so I'm gonna give you guys a recap on what's going on here. So you notice the fender is already all, well, I mean not the fender, but the beam this side of the car is already primered. So while you're watching the video, I kind of skip forward because there's really nothing to do other than trying to grind down everything that's useless, and then get a wire wheel like this style, and you're going to use it to scuff up the entire body on this side of the car. Get either as much paint off as possible, or just scrape it and then get rid of all that body filler stuff that's in here. Like I said, I'm not going for full like show bay. I'm going for a full, you know, DIY bay. This is not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be something that everybody can do at home. Now, with limited hand tools, unless you know how to weld, I mean, you're very limited to what you can do. So the next thing is we're going to be doing body filler, and what we're going to be filling is all these little holes right here. Nothing larger than a dime. So this like big quarter one, we're not going to be able to fill because body filler can only fill so much. So you'll see these. We're going to try to fill all these little tiny holes, just to give the lines on the inside of here a much smoother look. But pre-warning you, I've never done this before. This is going to be my first time doing this, so results may vary on everybody's skill level. My skill is literally level 1. So we're going to do the best we can together. I got more holes here I can show you. We're going to fill in these because these are not needed anymore. All the little tiny ones that you can see light through inside of here, we're going to fill in. I scuffed up everything with a piece of sandpaper after everything was done, so I can see, you can see a lot better with primer on here what needs to be filled. This one's going to be an interesting one because we're going to kind of match the curve here.
of the tower. So we want to make sure we can fill that in as well. So let's get to work. I'm going to time lapse it. I will explain some things when I stop it. So just keep paying attention to everything that we're doing. Okay guys? Thanks. So we're using a bondo body filler. Pretty much it's asking for us to use very little, about 3 inches or 3-inch diameter in fill size. So you got to keep track on how much you're going to be using. So what I do is I get paper plates. Oh man, stuff stinks. Plastic spoons, that way you don't have to worry about destroying stuff. And as per the directions, we're going to be putting, I guess I'm going to be putting, a good spoonful right here. This stuff dries pretty quickly once activated with the hardener. So pay very close attention to how much you're going to be using at a time, because this stuff hardens very quick. So it's about a 3-inch glop of stuff on there. Let's see what else is there. Takes about 20 to 30 minutes for the hardener to cure. It's for small areas and imperfections, so you can't use a lot, okay guys? So this hardener creamer here, pretty much it says about a 3-inch strip of this stuff right there. That's all it's saying. You're going to mix it in until it's evenly colored. So I have a little putty knife here, or spatula. I bought a couple more. Find it here. Bought these guys for larger areas. These are small areas, so I'm not going to use these right now. So what you're going to do now is start mixing. And everything has to be the same color, okay guys? You can't have like 2 different colors in it. It's got to be evenly mixed, the same color. Once the color is consistent in this all around, it is ready to mix. Ready to apply. Just like that. So you're going to grab a bit of this stuff, and then you literally just going to fill your hole with it. Now mine's dripping since the hole doesn't have I should put a piece of tape underneath there. Smart guy. Yeah, that was a dumb idea. Let me see here. Yeah. So we're going to have to put a piece of tape underneath there to do that. So, like I said, this is my first time ever doing this. I've never done this before, so I'm not the best so we're going to learn together. So this right here, though, is a lot easier because we're just spreading it onto the tower. So if it's anything that I can think of, we got to spread it so I can follow the line as best we can. That other hole I'm going to have to figure out when I get there. Now the great thing about bondo is that if you mess up, you just send it back down and redo it. Pretty simple. It's already starting to harden, so maybe hardening will let me And this stuff hardens pretty quick, guys, so, and it's already hardened. So, you saw how quick that was. So you can, in the video, I can still see that there's a divot there. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this better. The great thing is you have room for error, and that's the beauty about bondo. You mess up, you do it again. Let it harden, and then go into it and start sanding. If it still doesn't look that good, redo it. I mean, it's really, really simple. Like I said, keep repeating myself, but that's the beauty of bondo. You're allowed to, you know, break, fix, and repeat it. But you have to be quick. This stuff hardens pretty quickly. It recommends to wait about 20 to 30 minutes before you can actually start sanding it. So I'm gonna let this stuff wait. I'm gonna start taping the backs of this stuff so I can actually do this correctly. That was my big mistake. So I'm gonna start taping the holes underneath so I can actually have something to, so the bondo can adhere to something better. Yeah, it's already pretty hard. So stay tuned. I mean, pay attention, and then we'll keep doing what we're doing. All right, round two. So what I end up doing is taping the holes underneath. So when you apply the bondo, hold the bottom, apply it on the surface area. That way it won't leak down, derp. So that was my bad. But like I said, this is a learning experience for both of us, or for all of us, if you've never done body filler. This bondo is actually pretty hard. It's almost ready to sand, so we can smoothen that out and see how much more we need to actually add to fill and repair that divot. So you saw it took about maybe a minute to almost 2 minutes for the bondo to harden quickly. So try to just lay the bondo fast and go to the next one. Lay it fast and go to the next one, because if not, you're going to end up using a lot of your body filler pretty quickly. Where's my plate here? Oh, I'll just use this one again. Alright, so let's repeat the process. My little putty blade here. We might have to go back and buy some more hardener for whatever we have left over in here. So they don't give you a lot of hardener for this job. It's for a small job, so. Same thing, about a 3-inch strip. That's what it recommends. And then figure out where your plan of action is going to be when you're going to start, and then just all around. Alright, here we go. Alright, putty knife. Fix this hole again. this big one. Like I say, you don't have to be perfect, just make it look good. Masking tape's doing its job. It's okay if they bulge out a little bit. You can sand all that back down. I think I have enough. Put it down here. Starting to harden on me. Yeah, that's it. So that's already hard. So you'll notice it's a lot more sloppy now, which is fine. Remember, this stuff dries beautifully, and pretty much fixes itself beautifully because it's meant to be scraped and sanded down. That didn't take very long, did it? So the tape method worked really, really well. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. I'm pretty happy. So you're gonna have to use about 80 to 100 grit sandpaper to get this stuff sanded back down. What you're gonna end up doing is following the lines of everything that's in here, sanding it down to where it, it looks like it's factory lines again. If you want to get back to bare metal, go for it, but just make sure you copy all the lines and everything that you're sanding. We'll show you how to do that when we get to that point, but this is, like I said, this is a learning experience for all of us, especially me. Alright, so let's see you in a little bit. So the first body filler that we did today was the arch here. So I'm gonna cut some sandpaper here, and we're gonna sand this one down first. I'm using 150 grit because that was the cheapest stuff I can find locally, quickly. When they recommend 80 grit because it's easier and faster to sand down, but I'm okay with that. So we're gonna sand this down until the lines match back up to the original body line on here, okay? And you'll notice, you'll still see some of the divot on here, which is what we're trying to finish and fill. So what we're going to do, fix the lines so I have less stuff to sand down. And then we'll fix this and this in a little bit. It is a slow process, but it's worth it when you're done. So right here, you'll see the divot a bit more. But I actually, probably don't need that much to do to fix it. I think one more coat of the, or one layer of the bondo should fix that issue. Not too shabby. So I'm pretty happy with that right now until we can get that fixed. And then we'll be able to follow that line really nicely. And it's going to go back over here. And you can spot, this stuff is still hardening, so I'm not going to worry about it yet. But I'm going to take off my tape here, because it definitely did its job to hold the bondo in place. Some of the stuff will come right off because it's still not fully hardened yet, so that's just what I'm doing, just taking off the big chunks. The little chunks are going to stay on there for the time being. Get that in a little bit. So I'm going to leave this alone. Come back in a little bit and we can do some more. So we're going to repeat the process on the other side of the car so you guys can see that, so we can fill all this and do it all together. The other side has a lot of stuff we have to cut off, and then we're going to be working on the firewall too. So this firewall is going to have similar looks. There are some down here. I guess I can see if I can shake you guys over here. Get my camera all situated nicely. There we go. So down here, you'll see there's still a lot of texture here. I don't know what I can do to reach that, to get that out of there. That looks like it's going to be pretty difficult to get to. We have this little, hold on guys, sorry, my cord here. You'll see here, we still got to fill this corner in. I'm going to do the best I can. You know, like I said, I'm not building a full-on show car. I'm building something that you guys can learn with. You guys can go even crazier than I can if you guys want to go much more in depth in your adventure for doing this project. I'm just trying to do it so the bay looks a lot better than it used to. Here, these two little spots here are for the brake lines. Don't take those screws off. However, we can take that one off, that one. We're taking this thing off here, this one off as well. That's all going to be cut off. Let's see, this is going to be cut off here. This and this. Try to get that out of there. These holes, I mean, we're not going to fill them with any bondo. I'm probably just going to put rubber plugs. Once everything's done, we'll probably have black plugs. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's in the corner. Not many people can see it. I have to figure this piece out here, how we're going to cover that. We're going to, like I said, another screw here that has to be cut. We're going to do all that, sand this all down. I got to take the heater core out so this can be all sanded down and painted. I got to take these cables out of the way. This is the clutch and throttle body. This has to come out. This bracket has to come out as well. Same with this lower portion. That way we can get all of the engine bay ready to go. But I'm going one section at a time. Eventually everything will be done. So stay tuned. We'll get more going. Alright, so the bondo is dried long enough. So you'll see here, I've already sanded this piece right here. Pretty much you want to sand it so you don't feel any divots at all in the paint, or I mean in the body, so it feels like it's one piece. This is the stuff that we just filled. Once you feel like everything's even, leave it alone. We're going to use a primer with the filler built into it as for it, and it's this kind of paint we're going to be using. This fills in any micro like scratches or scuffs on here, so this will allow you to have a very, very, very smooth body line on here. So this feels really good. This feels really good. So I'm going to skip those and go to the next ones. And just like I said, just start sanding until the lines meet the body, and then depending on how you're going to paint the bay, with what you're going to paint it with. So, again, depending on how you sand this down, you're going to see what's going to show. And then depending on the color you guys use to paint your bay, it will show imperfections. It might not show any of the imperfections. So, personally, pick a color that you're going to like a lot. If it shows some imperfections, oh well, you know. Like I said, we're not building a freaking show car. We're building a fun car together, and we're doing it together. That's all that matters. So this right here looks really, really good to me. I'm pretty happy on how smooth this is turning out. And this one had the big hole right here too. So that was looking really, really good. I like that a lot. So you see this hole, these three holes are nicely filled in. Here's some of the stamping right here, so we're going to try to fill in those stamps plus this hole right here. Get that all nice and smooth. I think if I had better sandpaper, this would come out a lot better, faster. But I don't think I have 80 grit. I'll look around later. This is a very slow process if you use the kind of sandpaper that I'm using. But I'm okay with that. I mean, you gotta work with what you got. Lost my piece of brand new sandpaper. So like I was saying, I'll find that later. But keep repeating the process, and then eventually you will be done pretty quickly. Let's see here. So I'm going to time lapse all this right here for you guys, okay?
Alright, so we're back. So now we're on the driver's side. On the driver's side, you're going to have screws or little threaded posts. There's also plastic ones. These are not needed for your 1.8 T-swap, so just cut them off. I'm using a 4-inch cutoff wheel. So remember to turn your volume down. This is really loud. I will fast forward stuff for you guys until we get to the point where we're going to start doing some more work, but just pay close attention, okay? but the wire wheel, the cone adapter, you can get the rust off. While you fill up the compressor, I have a small compressor, so it takes a while. So while the compressor's filling up, you can go do other things instead of just waiting. I have different style wire wheels, depending on what you're trying to do. Harbor Freight's such your friend on this DIY here. I think I spent like $25 at Harbor Freight for little attachments and whatnot to get the grinding and sanding down. And then just make sure the rust comes off completely, because you don't want any rust. Especially you don't want to paint over rust. So it'll just come right back. Rust is a cancer, so you want to prevent it as much as you can. Now if the cone one doesn't work really well for you, swap it out for a bigger type wheel or a smaller wheel. And get back to work. Okay, my compressor's full right now, so back to cutting. So what I did is make a notch inside the battery tray, and that way I can get in there and start cutting left and right. There's that. So now I can just cut this one off. $15 belt. Now we're gonna work over here. We got these two brackets to cut off. I don't see any more bolts, so we're gonna cut them off at an angle and then grind down to get them off completely. It's a very, very, very messy job, just FYI guys. This is probably the dirtiest I've ever been in a long time. gets pretty small pretty quick with this hard steel stuff, so you have to replace another wheel, use it up for something else. Alright, so we have Gilbert's kids here. There you guys can see. There's his kids, there's Gilbert, these guys. Getting free labor from them, so I can't complain. They're going to start doing some body work for me.
Which part do I do?
I don't know, do whatever you think you can do here, here. This is a lot right here. I gotta do all this right there. You guys consent to be on YouTube, right? You guys are okay being on YouTube? Alright, making sure. It's 5 o'clock, my wife's here. Glasses, glasses. You have them on your head, fool. The other one until the compressor fills up again. Not bad. Not bad at all. Remember, go sideways. There you go. wanna give me that wheel over there?
There of me working my ass off and grinding this stuff. We're almost done grinding all this stuff. There's only some parts that we can't get to back here. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I wish I could, but it's really difficult to get back over here. But I mean, people see what the front of this, so I think we'll be okay. So the next thing is this big hunky-dory piece of chunk of metal. So we're gonna cut sideways, and then grind off everything that's here. I wish there was an easier way to do this. If all you guys are watching this and you guys have a Mark II and you guys know of an easy way, please message me on Facebook, on Instagram, and give me an easier way. But either way, it's gonna get done. That way, if you guys know of an easier way, I can share that to the world. But I know my way, which is the rough way, so I'm gonna cut it. So this is the point where you guys gotta turn the volume down and just enjoy.
suckers off. Now we go back to our grinding wheel. And then we're gonna pretty much grind all this off until it's smooth again. Same with this side over here. We're gonna grind and grind, just get it all out of there. Because that's the last of it that's on here. Once this is off, we'll get this cleaned up and then we'll be able to primer it. And then we're gonna patch up the holes that we have here. And then that'll be done. The next step will be taking off this stuff on the left on the firewall, sand down and scuff down the firewall because we're not really going to do much to shaving on the firewall. And then that's it. And then we're going to get ready to primer nicely and do some wet sanding on the primer and then a really, really good coat of paint. So let's keep going because that's what we do here. We work all freaking week. Alright everybody, so you watched everything and how it goes. A lot of sanding, a lot of grinding is involved in this process. It's very slow. About 3 days into it, I still got some work to do. We still got to fill these holes. This one, this one, this one, that one. I'm probably not going to fill that one because that's a big hole. Probably going to leave that one alone, but I'm probably going to fill that and these 3 little tiny ones. Definitely this one and that one right there. We still got to finish grinding this down and then filling that with bondo. I had to primer it because it's going to be here for a week without being touched. So a primer is a good way to prevent any rust while you wait to do more work down the road. We use a filler primer. There was no rust in here, so I don't have to worry about using like an etching primer. I don't even think I need it just because I need to use a filler so I can actually do more sanding and get the smoothness coming on here because I want this primer to be really, really, really smooth before we do a coat of paint on there. I'm going to yank out the heater core and the rest of these cables and this bracket so that way when we hit it with the new black paint that we're going to be doing in this bay, we're probably going to do a black magic pearl with a little bit more flake in it, so it's going to be really shiny. We want to, so when the light hits it, the engine stands out more. We're going to have a polished bay, so all the 1.8T components are going to be polished. But I think so far we did a really, really good job. We still have a lot more to go. But the way that I'm doing this shade is simple. I'm just grinding off whatever is not needed and just sanding it down and smoothing it. A lot of people would install like a beauty plate, which is like a metal piece that covers this. That way you don't see any of this. Same over here, metal plate. I can't weld, so I'm not going to try to go that far into it. I just want this to be a very, very clean bay. If I was going to go even further, I'd probably do that as well, but I just don't have the time, the money, or the just time. It's just one of the biggest things because we want this up and running by next year for show season. So stay tuned everybody, because PincheAls Garage is giving you the DIYs you need for a Mark II 1.8T swap. Good evening everybody, and we're back on PincheAls Garage shaving my wife's Mark II GTI. So you'll see there's some stuff here that we're gonna grind down a little bit further down so we can smoothen this out and fill in this dimple too here. But now we're working on this metal plate here, getting it grinded off. So as a rule of thumb for everyone, anything that gets grinded down will require bondo to fill, so we can get that done. You'll see over here, let's see if I can get you guys. See how nice and round this is. We still gotta do some more sanding to get that 100% nice and smooth. There's another dimple right here that we're gonna probably fill in as well. But the results are coming out the way I want it, so I'm very, very pleased and satisfied with what's going on. You'll see that the firewall is already primered.
All we did was sand it down and scuff it up a bit, and that's pretty much it, and primer it. Didn't go to bare metal, didn't have to, since this side doesn't have much to grind off. There's a couple little things here, 1, 2, 3, 4 little nipples that we gotta take off, but that's quick. Grind it down, sand, primer it, and call it a day. Nothing crazy. So we're gonna show you this process here. It's very, very slow. Just telling you guys right now, this is a very, very slow process. There's not much you can do about this besides just grinding. So I'm gonna stop the video and just time lapse it for you guys, but just an FYI, you want to grind it down until you get to the next layer of metal, which is the actual shift tower here, or I'm gonna show the strut tower, and that's it, and then keep going. If for any reason you don't want to go any further, you can also just leave it alone and then bondo and fill it. Just grind this down as smooth as you can and then fill it with bondo and round it off. That's kind of what we did over here. We're actually going to grind this down a little bit more so it's kind of more flush with the strut tower, and then just bondo and fill it and go around. I'm not going to try to go crazy with it. Alright, so look and enjoy. Alright, now we're done. Now we're going to do some bondo. I was able to shape the metal plate on the strut tower to the same shape of the car. So this will allow me for a little bit less bondo on here. So now there's a dimple here. The same thing on the other side. So we need to fill that one in. Fill this one in. And then all we're going to do is we're going to put a really thin layer of bondo on here so we can make this smooth like this everywhere. All that is just for filler, to fill in all these scratches and whatnot. This is just allow it to look really, really good, and we can shape it even better with all the bondo everywhere. So I just need a spoon, and I can pour my bondo out and mix it. Alright, so what I've been doing is I've been using, I'd say 2 tablespoons of bondo, and then like a pea size, not pea size, about half an inch worth of activator, or hardener, I'm sorry. So you can see this over here. So I used about 2 tablespoons of the bondo mixture, bondo stuff. And then, like I said, about half an inch of the actual hardener. This gives me about roughly maybe 2 minutes worth of applying. So mix that really quickly and get ready to apply. So when we're applying this on here, make it large. Who cares if it's too big? This will just allow you to what's it called? You can sand it down. That's the great thing about bondo. It's like, oh, I messed up. Just sand it all the way back down to metal and do it again. The longer you take mixing, the less time you have putting bondo on. Okay, guys. So grab your putty knife, your putty applicator, and slap that on. If you get lucky, you can slap this on pretty smoothly. If not, then, like I said, you want to follow the shape as best you can. Who cares if it's too much or not enough? This gives you all the room for error correction. So I know this looks like a lot, but when you sand this all down, it's not going to be that much. Right here. You might have to layer this a bit more later down the road to get it to go on there nicely. But like I said, it's pretty much, this is already hardened, That sucks. Okay, so I got this side going. Now, again, repeating myself, you layer it as thick as you can. Who cares how much you put on there? Because once you get on there, you're going to start sanding and following the shape of your tower. If for any reason you get that divot again, all you do is let it dry, get that divot, and get that bondo nice and round. Whatever the divot, because I can still see the divot here, but it's not as bad or pronounced as it was before. On the other side, I had to do 2 layers, and that gave me the ability to go to curve it better. So like I was saying, once you get that going, once you start getting that curve in, then you start molding it with your sand, with the lighter, with the finer sandpaper. That way it's nice and smooth. We're going to be using 80 grit to sand this down rough, and then after that you can sand it down with 150, and then get it right nice and smooth with to like 1,000, 2,000, so it looks like it's part of the car. Same over here, we got some really deep gashes on here. Alright, babe. We got some pretty deep gashes here because of the grinding. It's okay. Fill it in, sandpaper it, and then that's it. You're good. Pretty easy repair. So it's awesome about Bondo. It's like, it's awesome. So again, let it dry for a while. This takes about a half an hour to an hour to cure properly. Just ignore it and work on something else. So we're going to start filling in the other holes right now, since we're going to wait for that to dry. Move you guys over here. So you guys can see we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes to fill. These much larger ones we're not going to fill in because they're too large for Bondo. They're going to just break. You don't want that. The little tiny ones are fine. This one in the corner is too far in the corner to fill in. It's just not really smart to fill that in because it's going to be difficult to maneuver in there, so I'm just going to ignore that. I had the same problem on the other side. I just stopped. I didn't decide not to just go any further with that one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little holes to fill. Not bad. Not bad at all. We got some little ones right here. We might fill these in. Other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. Once that's all done, oh, we got some more down here. You can see down here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now these are going to be more difficult to fill, mainly because there's no way to prevent it from leaking in. So we might not fill those. I don't know yet. Because over here we can put a piece of tape to prevent it from leaking, and then that way we can actually get it out. But we'll see. I'll see when I get there. Alright, so let's see if I can adjust the brightness here. There we go. It's going to wash it out a little bit, but you guys can see it done. So now we're going to do the other holes here. All we have left are just those couple holes and a little bit of Bondo on the pillar again, and then we're good to go. So I'm not going to do the pillar right now. I'm going to show you guys how to patch the holes really quick. I'm running out of Bondo, but it's okay. It's probably the best 20 bucks I've ever spent. 15 bucks I've ever spent. It's so easy, and I actually like doing it. I love the smell of it. I don't know if you guys like chemical smells and stuff, but I like this smell. You know, I don't think it's healthy for you, but it smells pretty good. I get the hardener. Alright, got my little spatula there, and go mix, 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 mix. Okay. Try to repeat. Do this. Okay. Alright, that's all of them. See, I got enough left for this stuff over here. And that's it. Let this stuff dry. I'll wait for tomorrow. It's already too late for me. It's about 7 o'clock right now. But I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this with me. Like I said, this is a whole brand new experience. So you'll see here, I just filled in this stuff. And all that's going to do is fill in the scratches that we made with the grinder. So that's going to look really nice and smooth. I used duct tape behind this, so when I lay it down, it gets a good layer. Just all you're gonna do is you're gonna sand that down pretty smooth, and then make it look good. And that's pretty much it. So there. Let me see the other two right here. That's everything. I mean, that's all we have left to do. Once that's all sanded down and smoothed out, we'll show you that procedure when we get to that. Just let it dry like I was telling you guys before. It's about a half an hour for it to dry. Tomorrow we're going to do the other pillar on the other side. Fill that in, that little divot that's on the bottom. And that should give us the shape that we want to make this tower really nice and round. And then that's it for the shaving process. We're going to make you a new DIY on how to paint the whole bay and prep it for paint. I'm getting advice from some good friends and stuff, so I can make sure I get this painted really nicely. We're going to be using an actual paint gun, so stay tuned for that as well. We're using everything from Harbor Freight. Like I said, I'm not trying to make a show car. I'm just trying to make the DIY Mark II car, pretty much. Everything here is meant to be done at home with a friend, by yourself, whatever you guys can, okay? I'm using basic hand tools and stuff that you can get at your local shop. So I'm getting a lot of grief from people who's like, oh, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, the whole point of this is to do this with your friends. Do this by yourself. It's not meant to be a show car. It's meant to be done for fun. I mean, I'm not here to make money off of it. I'm not here to do anything with it. I'm here to show you guys that you guys can do it at home, and you guys can do it with very, very minimal tools and not spend a fortune to make yourself a really cool engine bay, that you did yourself, and be proud of that you did yourself. All you guys that want to call me out and say, oh, you're doing this all wrong, I know I am. I know I'm not doing it 100% to a T. I don't do body work. I don't own a body shop. I don't know any of this stuff. I get advice from you guys, and I do it as basic as possible so everybody can do it within a budget, a realistic budget. I'm not going to spend $2,000 to have a bay shaved. I'm going to spend 50 to 100 bucks. And that's it. And it's going to turn out pretty cool. And whether it lasts 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years, I'm going to be happy with it. So again, thanks everybody for watching this. Stay tuned for more. We'll give you guys some more updates down the road. Alright everybody. We're now at the final stages of the body of the bay. It's been like 4 days since I last touched this bay, since I've been busy. So pretty much the next thing you need to do is just start sanding. You're going to have some thick pieces that you're not going to want. So we're not going to use this stuff here. I'm just gonna break it off. We don't need it. And that's gonna mess with my primer, but I'm okay with that. I'll just sand it and smooth it off in just a minute. But so what you want to do is feel for it. You want to sand the bondo down. Now what you're not trying to do is sand it straight to metal, because then you're going to defeat the purpose of your bondo. And right here it's nice and smooth, so I'm going to leave that alone. Looks like I'm going to have to grind this down a little bit more. This has a high spot right here. But that to me feels really, really good. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to work on this one over here. Now since bondo is a lot softer than metal, it will sand down a lot faster. And get you that nice, really smooth surface that you want to fill in those holes. Just remember not to go too far, because if not, you're going to lose that hole that you made, the cover that you made for your hole. Now you can see where the primer is staying, the metal is going, because these are high spots and these are low spots. So that's okay. I mean, like I said, we're not going for show quality. We're going for DIY quality. So for me, that feels really good. So I'm done sanding that down. Now here's where you want to use a larger piece and start working your way on the shape of the actual tower. You don't want to go in one direction. Now you can see by me sanding what needs to be filled in more. This is the beauty of bondo. You can layer it all you want until you're happy with the results you get. So I can still feel there's a dimple here and a little bit more over here needed. So I'm gonna keep going. But now you only need to do smaller patches to get your shape in. Everything else will be fine. You guys are seeing this, but like right here, we gotta fill in that little crack a little bit more. But high spots, low spots, and that means there's still shaping required. So that side's done. We're gonna finish this spot over here. Here was with that metal plate that we had here. Now we have a little divot here on here, so we're not trying to fill that in because that's part of the actual tower and the shape of that, so we're not going to try to get rid of that line. All we want is get rid of that metal plate that was here and just make it look really smooth. So I'm going to try to get rid of this bondo chunk here. I didn't want that. So we got some high and low spots in here. Hopefully I can sand them out. Alright, it's almost gone. go. And now it's this piece here that we gotta finish. That's all good for now, until we do another layer of bondo to finish these low spots here, and then that should be good. All the low spots are done over here as well. Well, we got a good one here. There we go. That's out of there. So that's all good. We just, like I said, we gotta fix these. Now we have over here these other holes that we need to fill. Not fill, I mean finish patching or sanding. Mine's not here. It's so hot today. Get these guys off of here. I know it's not the smartest thing to do, but I'm doing it. So we're gonna make a trip to Sherwin Williams paint shop, and we're gonna pick up some new paint for the engine bay and some flex agent and everything. So hopefully they'll be able to mix my paint up for me and get the color we were trying to get. Now, if you guys know anything about the Mark IVs and certain colors, there's a color that we're gonna do. It's called Black Magic Pearl. It's another video for you guys because the engine bay painting will be a separate DIY. But Black Magic Pearl is a really cool color. Has a lot of metallic in it and a little bit of pearl, so it has like a cool lighting effect when light hits it, and it has a really nice reflection. But we're going to make it a little bit more heavier and metallic. Since it's going to be inside an engine bay, we want the engine bay to pop a bit more since we're going to be using black. You know, my wife wants the engine bay black, so I don't have a choice with that. So I'm going to modify the black a bit more to my liking, because I want the bay to pop. So now we're getting to the metal portion right here. Now what we're going to need a feel for, you'll see here in these corners there's low spots, or like little divots. Over here it's really good. Over here you can see the bondo shading kind of like really nice and blending really nice into the metal, and that's what we want. So you don't see any lines in your body work. You just see a nice little blend in there. Happy bondo. Now we're trying to get to the holes, if you guys see that. What I'm trying to do is not sand into the holes. Just want to make sure everything blends, and then we're done. Just feel for any divots in there. And if not, you're good. You go to the next one. And then same procedure. Just sand it down. And I'm using 80 grit sandpaper, if you guys are just tuning in. This is probably the best sandpaper for bondo. Because it's the fastest thing you can get to the bare metal without spending too much time sanding. Can you get me the hose, please? Were you the one that closed the garage? Did you close the garage? Right now. Okay. I don't need it all the way over here. I just need it over there because I gotta wash my hands. Huh? Okay, sorry. Okay, so more than likely I'm going to take these chunks out with the wire wheel and then just finish smoothing this piece out on top, but that'll be it. So that's all done, that's done, that's done. That one's really nice. That's also really nice. This one needs some more work. And you can still see the little divot there and low spots here, so we're trying to make that stuff disappear. And then yeah, it'll be really nice. It'll be just like this side where everything is already nice and contoured. I'm gonna have to re-bondo some stuff right here and fill in that divot as well. You guys can see that. We're not gonna worry about repairing this side of the tower because this is not gonna be seen. So from here to here, and then that's it. We're gonna go through the whole car with 800 grit and do it. And then after that, we're gonna primer it one more time with a good primer, and then we're gonna go through the whole entire bay with 1000 or 2000 grit. What do I have? 2000, 1200 wet sand, and then we're gonna paint the bay. So just stay tuned, and then just we'll be back in a little bit with some new paint and stuff. We're gonna be filming that as well. So see you guys in a little bit. Bye. So we're back. We're gonna finish the body work right now. The last, pretty much, of my body filler that I need to do. So right now I am going to finish this and this little dimple here. If I can do this fast enough, I can salvage enough and go to the other side and finish the other dimple as well, all at the same time. We'll see if we can. So I can get the other side really quick. Sorry guys, I'm not going to film that. Just wanted to see if I can get this not to dry so fast. And there it is, it's drying now. Well, hopefully I get, looks really good, so I'm pretty happy with those results right now. So these came out much better than I thought it would. The other side, not so much. I'll move you guys over here. You guys can see when I started slathering it down, it's already started getting a texture effect to it. That means the hardener is already doing its job, and it's already starting to harden the bondo. So I'm hoping the bottom layer. This is probably gonna need a second one after we're done sanding and smoothing that out. This one on this side again, This one's gonna just require a little bit of sanding and smoothing, not very much. So I didn't have enough budget to get the paint that I wanted, so I decided to make a compromise, and I bought some cheaper stuff. Oh well, you know, my wife didn't really care much, but we're gonna do a jet black, but we're gonna do lots of coats, a lot of coats of gloss, and in between coats we're gonna polish and gloss and polish and gloss. That way we can maximize the shininess of the engine bay down the road. We'll show you guys how to do that soon. Once I'm done all doing the filling and everything, we're gonna try that next. Alright, so stay tuned. We'll be showing you more end results right now, okay? Thanks. Alright everyone, so where we last left off, we were sanding and doing the last of the bondo smoothing. So if you guys can see here, now the tower is actually rounded. It no longer has dimples. However, there's still some imperfections, but for what we want, this is what we want. We don't want perfection. We want a DIY car. We want to be able to show people that not everyone has a lot of money and time or patience to get this done to a show status. However, it's pretty legit. I mean, I can't even argue how good this looks in comparison to what we had. So you guys can see, like, the whole engine bay is very, very smooth. Very, very nicely shaved. I mean, it looks really good. And you can see, I mean, we got rid of all the dimples in the towers, which is a really big, important thing when you're getting into shaving bays, because it gives that really nice, smooth look. Got rid of a lot of the little holes that we had here. All there. We're going to get body grommets for these, so those are going to have rubber grommets like factory stuff. We want that just so it can keep an OEM look to it. But tomorrow we are going to paint. However, we still have to prep it for paint. What that means, what I mean by prepping for paint, the last big step is, since this has a fresh coat of a primer on here now, we got to get 1200 grit sandpaper and pretty much a hose or a bottle, spray bottle with water, and we need to sand this wet with really, really fine sandpaper, 1200 like I was saying. The reason for this, we want a nice scuffed up surface so the paint can adhere the best it can. After we scuff everything up, we're going to use a wax and tar remover here to clean off all the surface, because we don't want any debris on here. We want everything to be very smooth and very, very clean as possible. So when the black paint goes on, it goes on very, very smooth and very fine and very shiny. The whole goal here is to make the engine bay just shine as much as we can. We are going to be using a cheaper paint. I'm not going to open this yet, but I might not use this, but this is Duplicolor Jet Black. I haven't opened it yet. I don't think I'm going to use this. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm going to try to hit up the paint shop tomorrow and see what they have at an auto body paint shop, and maybe I can get something for about 20 to 30 bucks to do the whole engine bay. However, I did get a clear coat right here. It's a gloss clear coat, which it's ready pretty much to spray. There's no mixing, nothing to require. You just pretty much tape off everything and spray. That's it, and you get your clear on. This one, we have a paint gun and everything. We're going to give you guys a full DIY on that. That stuff cost me 20 bucks. You know, there's limitations, so, you know, of course it's all budget wise, so, you know, what you guys can afford and what you guys can do and can't do. But yeah, I mean, I'm going back this again so you guys can see this, but I mean, this is pretty legit. Hope you guys enjoy this. This DIY for getting the bay ready, shaved, and ready to get painted. Thanks again for watching this very, very long episode of PincheAls Garage. I appreciate staying tuned and being a part of this whole entire DIY. Alright guys, peace out. And as always, we're going to break, fix, and